Good evening, everybody. Super Jackster01 here. I didn't expect to make this video, but after what I watched Friday night, I'm going to have to. As you know, back in July, I did a topic, or was it late June, early July? I did a topic discussing the Free Britney movement after hearing Britney's June 23rd testimony, which has now been heard all over the entire world. Some great progress has been made, but as we know, back in February, basically what got me into the Free Britney movement, because remember, in the past, I never listened to her music, wasn't too crazy on her. I didn't even know what she was in a conservatorship, and like most people, I didn't even know what a conservatorship was. I didn't know about any of the story until February when I saw the New York Times documentary Framing Britney Spears on Hulu, and those people, which was a very informative documentary. And this past Friday, they released a sequel called Controlling Britney Spears. So I'm going to give you a little backstory. After Britney's June 23rd testimony, what happened was a bunch of people who had signed a bunch of NDAs and witnessed a bunch of stuff decided to come out and do interviews and expose what they've seen. I'm going to do a reaction from some of the thoughts and stuff, the information. And I'm going to do everything I can. I will do literally my damnedest to handle this calmly, unlike last time. Last time I wasn't like ranting, yelling, cursing like that, but you could tell I was getting pretty heated. And so I will do literally the best I can to handle this as calmly as I can. And this video, we were originally supposed to have a guest with me, my friend Eric MacArthur, who's also a supporter of the Free Britney movement. I was going to have him be a guest in this video. We were probably going to communicate through Zoom or something like that, but I decided not to, just in case I got a little ranty and everything. So Eric, if you're watching, I'm sorry to do this, but I just wanted to let you know that I did want to do it, but I just didn't want to take any chances with case getting angry and making you feel uncomfortable. So if you're watching, this video is for you, Eric. All right. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. And by the way, there's also 2 more Britney Spears documentaries coming out before the September 29th testimony happening this Wednesday. There's one airing on CNN tonight. I don't remember what the name of the CNN documentary is, but on Tuesday, there's also a Netflix documentary called Britney versus Spears. I'll be watching both of those, even though I'm kind of apprehensive too. Because basically, I was even more apprehensive with watching this this documentary because of Controlling Britney Spears, because I feel like the more information I found out, the more I get angry, and my anger issues could sometimes affect that. But I decided then, because I follow the hashtag on Twitter, I knew everybody was going to be tweeting all about it, so I would be unsure of what they were all talking about, so I thought might as well just watch the documentary. So I watched it Friday night when it came out, 10 o'clock p.m. on Hulu. So let's get started. So we're going to start with we found out that things were a lot worse. Britney's father, Jamie Spears, hired security to be around her 24/7. Him and 2 people from TriStar and, oh my God, what was the other company? Yeah, I already told you about Lou Taylor and everything. There was this other woman who was involved. Her name was Robin Greenhill, who is a bitch. Okay, I'm sorry I'm stuttering. I should have made a script to jot down everything I was going to talk about, but, so we'll talk about a witness came. I have the names written down so I don't remember. There was this company that, Britney was the first client to this thing called Black Box Security. It was a security system, and a former head of security. His name was Alex Vlasov. Please forgive me if I mispronounced that last name. I forgot how they pronounced his last name in the documentary, but he talked about some information that was very, very kind of disturbing or sad to say the least. What had happened was then Jamie, having such a huge obsession, hired people. He had this group chat with Lou Taylor and Robin Greenhill. They were literally a group text message chat that was literally, and also the president or whoever was the CEO or the president of Black Box Security. His name was Eden Yemeni. The 4 of them, they had a group chat that was basically jotting down, literally talking about every single step Britney took, whether it was outside or even in her own house. they had this 24/7 security all around her house, and she had this medication. They wouldn't let her leave the house unless she took the medication. And it's also said that Britney eventually wanted to get an iPhone, so they got an iPhone for her. But Robin Greenhill came up with this idea. They took this iPad and mirrored Britney's iCloud onto the iPad so they could monitor every single Google search, text message, phone call, everything she did on that phone. And they also set up this recording device in Britney's room so they could listen to everything going on in her room. Everything that was said and done in her room. Alex said that Eden actually came with them with a it was a flash drive. They asked him, they had over 180 hours of audio of what was going on in Britney's room. They asked him to erase all the footage. Alex revealed that he felt like he was so uncomfortable and disturbed by this that in order to keep it as evidence, he actually made a copy of the flash drive and has held onto it since then. That is a major invasion of, that is literally illegal and a major invasion of privacy. And I don't know, was the court aware of this and did they approve of this? Britney's current new attorney, Matthew Rosengart, has basically said that that is a giant violation of privacy, a giant violation of many laws, that an investigation will go into that. What the hell? This is flat out, this is not looking out for her or trying to care about her or anything. This is flat out obsession. Absolutely 150% obsession. I gotta praise this Alex guy. You could tell, if you watch the documentary's on Hulu, and also you can actually watch the documentary on YouTube. Somebody uploaded it, but I recommend watching that before you watch this video, so you'll be able to see it before it gets taken down. But you could tell, when you watch the documentary, you could tell Alex is so, like, he's like shaking. It's like he doesn't want to do this because he's violating, like, something. These guys could actually hurt him just for revealing all this information. All right. But yeah, I honestly would love to hear their side of the story, because there is no way they can justify this invasion of privacy. This is literally obsession. I'm sorry I keep saying it, but this man literally has an obsession with her. And also monitoring all her phone calls and everything, even personal conversations. What the hell? Why? This is literally like, if anybody thinks that this is actually necessary for Britney, you are a sick person and you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm gonna keep jumping back and forth between these topics. And remember, this was an hour-long documentary. I'm just trying to remember every single little thing. So we're gonna go to the head of another person that was interviewed was the head of wardrobe. Her name is Tish Yates, or she went by the name Tish. She was the head of the wardrobe for all Britney shows. She witnessed, basically the one really in control was a woman named Robin Greenhill. That woman, I watched that documentary. You could just tell that she was not in for the money. You could just tell she just had this very deep hatred towards Britney. You could tell she said this look like, I hate this person. I want to ruin their life. I have no idea why. Okay, so there's some footage that we can see in there where they're making this schedule for Britney for when she's going to rehearsing, and she says, yeah, she's going to work on her birthday. Yeah, like they're saying, all right, you sure? One person in the meeting says, you sure she'll be okay with that? And she basically says, no, she's going to do it. Controlling. Also, she denied simple requests like asking if she could have sushi for dinner, even though she had it the night before, or not even letting her buy a pair of Skechers. Tish then actually had to actually do a write-off, a business expense write-off, just to get the sneakers for Britney. That is, I don't have any words to describe that. Or any that would just, that's not so violent or angry, because remember, I don't want to scare anyone with this video or just make it, so I'm doing the best I can to handle this calmly. Um, I, I really don't know what to say. Robin Greenhill, I know you're probably not watching this video, but what is your agenda? Like, what was going through your head when you were doing this for Britney? I could tell money absolutely had nothing to do with money. I could just see it in her face. It's like there was just like this anger, this hatred for Britney that honestly, if you all watch the documentary, you could tell this. You could tell it had something to do with this hatred. And then yeah, so yeah, and she also came up with the idea to mirror Britney's phone so they can monitor everything. And also sometimes they take the phone away from her. In the documentary, there's footage of, or like there's audio footage of like Jamie, like very brief audio of like it's only heard for a couple seconds where it's like Jamie says, "I'm doing my best. Give me the phone." No, and all that. So, the woman, this is a grown woman. Stop treating her like a child. You just have this very deep obsession with her, and it's creepy. It's like that saying about abusive relationships. Jealousy is dangerous. Obsession is deadly. Monitor every conversation, even ones with her mother, her court-appointed lawyer, Sam Ingham, and everything. And I don't know how this was approved. Was this even approved by the judge at the time, Reva Gates? Reva Gates? Yes, I believe I finally pronounced that last name correctly. And I don't understand what exactly this has to do. This is conservatorship abuse. This is control. And they then also forced her then to do these meet and greets. Like, even if she was so sad or something, they had her act all happy and stuff like that. And this thing happened in 2009 when the Circus Tour happened. Britney was about to get into the thing that she did her entrance in. I don't remember what it was called, because remember, I've only seen, the only thing I've seen of the Circus Tour was basically the stuff that's seen in the documentaries. I've never seen the full Circus Tour. Maybe I'll go on YouTube one day and watch whatever footage I can find of it. And before she got in there, she ran off, and Tish followed her and asked what was wrong. She said she didn't want to go in there because it smelled like weed in there, and she was worried then she would be drug tested or something, and it failed, and then she wouldn't be able to. She'd have her kids taken away, and that's another thing that happened with Robin Greenhill and Jamie. Jamie was always defending Robin Greenhill and basically saying to Britney, "If you don't do this, I'll take away your kids." That is using. They were using Britney's children as pawns in their sick little game. I don't know what. Hang on one sec. Sorry. Just having a thing of water so my mouth doesn't dry up. Sorry about that. And think about this for the kids, for Britney's sons. In the last 13 years, they've only had a specific amount of time with their mother, all because these guys wanted money. They did that. It's one thing doing it to Britney, but doing it to these children. You'd have to be absolutely sadistic and arrogant to do that. And I don't know what conservatorships are supposed to be an absolutely last resort. Britney was never qualified for one. I believe I said this in the last video, but I'm just saying it just again, just in case. And then, yeah, anyway, yeah. So Britney didn't want to go perform at that first night of the Circus Tour because she was worried then that she was, the smell of weed would get on her and then it would fail a drug test and then she wouldn't be, allowed to see her kids. That's the thing. You gotta give respect to Britney. She went through all this 13 years just to be with her kids. That's loyalty right there. And absolutely, she's a great mother. I'm going to say, I don't know Britney personally, but from everything I've seen and heard, she's a great mother. And I'm hoping once she is freed, she gets full custody of those kids and away from Kevin Federline. I mean, Kevin Federline, how could you allow your ex to do that? This allowed to happen to your ex and allow them to use your own children as pawns? That is absolutely... It's like you don't care about the kids. It's like you do not care about them. And, okay, is there anything else about Tish that I didn't say? Please forgive me. There was just so much in the documentary that I couldn't, like, that I still think about to this day of how ridiculous and evil that is. We'll go to Felicia Colota, who was basically there for Britney from the beginning. She is practically Britney's real mother. Like, treated Britney better than her own mother did. She was always there on her tours, everything, always there for her. Team Jamie and Team Khan, they tried to cause a feud between them. Shortly before the Circus Tour happened, Jamie told Felicia that Britney did not want her on the tour and that she would not be going on there. Felicia insisted that she come on the tour and that she'd stay away from Britney, so they ignored each other for most of the tour. Sometime during the tour, Britney ran into her dressing room, hugged Felicia and asked where she was. Yeah, that's it. Jamie was trying to remove all the good things or all the support Britney had taken away from her. I honestly almost teared up because of that. It showed that she saw Felicia was like, I feel so, Felicia Colota, I don't think you'll ever see this. I don't know if you'll ever see this video, but I am so sorry that happened to you. And I don't know what else to say. Is that I'm sorry that happened to you. And I hope that you and Britney will reunite after this whole thing is over. You are like Britney's real mother. It's kind of like how mother figure and Matthew Rosengart is basically Britney's real father figure. That's the thing I want to say is that now. And another thing that basically Alex Vlasov, I think, said, or Vlasov, please forgive me if I mispronounce that last name. I don't remember how they pronounced it in the documentary. I'm going to have to rewatch the documentary. But he also said that if Britney was having a boyfriend or everything, they would have the boyfriend sign an NDA and also sign an NDA and they'd interview the guy, talk to him. As we all know, from January till April of 2019, Britney was in that mental health facility against her will. They got access and found out that Britney was actually trying to text a lawyer to come and help her out. They actually came up with this clever idea to have the lawyer pretend to be a plumber and walking in. It didn't work out though because Team Khan was monitoring that phone call. Alex had said that when Britney was put in that facility, Eden had called him and asked, "Do we still have that iPad in the safe? We got to continue monitoring it." Eventually, though, and as we all know, then while in the middle of April, the guy who used to be the paralegal, he left the anonymous voicemail to the Britney's Grand podcast, basically saying that Britney had been put in there against her will, and then that she had been there since mid-January, and that's what kind of sparked the Free Britney movement. They then released Britney from that facility, and I believe that prior to that voicemail saved Britney's life. Britney probably would have been locked up there and drugged to death. They were trying to make her end up like Marilyn Monroe or Michael Jackson or those kinds of celebrities that died at young ages or stuff like that. But we fans have prevented that from happening. And they're the photos, the photos that you guys have all known. She's wearing the red dress and she looks pretty bad. They made that just to make it seem like she was free or she was, she was able to walk out and do what she wanted. That was a scam. They were trying to try and trick people. Nobody bought it. And apparently, from what I understand, is that when the Free Britney movement was beginning and all the protesters they saw it, and they were trying to make claims that it was just conspiracy theory, which then was obviously proven to be false, mostly from Britney's testimony. What had happened then was And Team Com apparently sent spies to these rallies and were having the spies interviewed to try and identify the people there. You are that desperate for control, literally, and this is why some of you guys were doing this just for money, And also, Alex also said something after this Free Britney movement, began, and that after the voicemail, the voicemail that the paralegal left came out all over the internet and was heard all over the world. Alex basically said that he wanted to resign. He was talking to Eden, I believe that's who it was. He went into his office to meet with them to discuss that. Eden took out a gun. I believe the gun was even loaded, and put it on the desk facing facing Alex. And basically said, "So you don't know like how I run my business? Like, are these guys like members of the mob or something? I wouldn't be surprised if they were, and that's why they were taking all this money." Britney had a $600 million estate that was estimated a couple of years ago. Now it's at $60 million. Where did the $600 million go? Oh yeah, he gave it to TriStar and Lou Taylor's company. Ugh. I'm sorry if this video is running short and I'm not really saying much, but there are other videos on YouTube. You can probably find that'll do a much better job at explaining this than I will. But I don't really have a comment, but Team Con. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Two more things I forgot to mention. In 2014, the host of the New York Times documentary, they got their hands on court transcripts from a hearing that happened between Sam Income and Reva Gates back in 2014, where prior to being Britney's conservator, Jamie actually had a history of alcohol addiction and was actually in rehab. Apparently they said Britney was insisting that Jamie would be tested, in which they were, but Reva Gates actually said who is she to decide that. And also, we all know Britney recently just got engaged to her boyfriend Sam Asghari, and they basically said in those transcripts said that Sam Income had said to Reva Gates that Britney doesn't think she can get married because of the conservatorship, and Reva Gates actually says, "I don't think the conservatorship doesn't prevent. She believes that the conservatorship doesn't prevent people from getting married, but he tells Ingham to not tell Britney that." Reva Gates, do you have this? Everyone here, are you guys really that desperate for money that you're willing to ruin a person's life, or are you doing this because you just have this deep hatred for Britney? I'm just having a hard time believing you're just doing this for a little extra cash. You must have this deep hatred for Britney. I'm sorry I keep saying that and keep doing this, but it's the only logical explanation. And also, I believe it was September 2016, a court investigator came to Britney's house and interviewed Britney, and basically Britney was telling him everything that had happened, I think, and saying that this conservatorship is doing more harm than good. The investigator went back and with this file, it basically said Team Con is doing a great job and that they should begin a process to release Britney from this conservatorship. You call doing that a great job. You call that doing a great job. What has this system become? Conservatorships and guardianships, I'm going to be honest, these should not be legal. They should not be legal. They are absolute fishing bait for disaster. And people are trying to defend it, saying, "Oh, no, for like an elderly person who can't take care of themselves." I go as far as saying, why the fuck do you care? If something happens to that person, it's not your problem. And also, putting someone else in charge of another person's life is absolute recipe for disaster. Even if the person is very nice and very trustworthy and very honest, like even if it'll turn out to be a good thing, I wouldn't bother taking any chances. Okay, it is not fair to just take people's civil liberties away, especially also Matthew Rosengart. I'm waiting for Britney's doctor comes out and says he never filed anything to claim that Britney had dementia. This conservatorship was never qualified and never necessary. Never at all. And even if it was necessary, get someone else who actually get somebody in the court or a professional to do this. In Rosengard's petition that he filed last Wednesday, a recent petition that Rosengard filed last Wednesday, he basically exposed all of it, saying that Jamie had no prior experience with financing at all, and he should not be trusted doing that, and that he has not done a good job at this. He also shouldn't be using Britney's money to pay for his lawyers. That is not good at all. Sorry, I'm being too generous. There's so much stuff I want to say in anger, but I'm not going to say it because, you know what? I'm trying to keep it cool here and not affect my reputation. And also, I don't want you people to think I'm overreacting or something like that, but this is a very big deal. The court system, this California court system is messed up. Now, thank the Lord, in mid-July, Sam Income, Britney's court-appointed lawyer, had stepped down for various reasons, and she now has a former federal prosecutor with a very strong track record named Matthew Rosengard as a new lawyer who is doing everything he can to get Jamie removed. Jamie recently filed a petition to terminate the conservatorship last couple weeks ago, and sorry. Basically filed a petition to terminate the conservatorship. Nobody's buying it, though, because they think he's asking for consolations, like $2 million or something from an earlier petition he filed last month, that he's trying to restore his reputation or something like that. We're not buying it. Rosengard is actually insisting. He found another guy who's a professional to say, suspend Jamie if you don't approve the termination of this conservatorship at the next court hearing. Suspend Jamie, and we have this professional, I don't remember what his name is, to take over. And honestly, that's actually good, because it turns out that this professional, if somebody takes over as the conservator of the estate afterwards, they can actually get information from, demand access to, or force over access to documents. So this replacement guy could actually access emails, text messages from Jamie and all the other lawyers through the years to find out what exactly has been going on. So, and I'm interested in seeing what the CNN documentary covers tonight. Anyway, this video probably isn't as long as I thought it was going to be, but I will say, Alex Vlasov, I commend you for coming out and taking a risk, pretty much risking your life to give out this information. Tish Yates, I'm sorry that you witnessed all of that, and I'm so sorry that you couldn't do anything about it. I'm hoping that you reunite with Britney, and then, things will be better. By the way, I wasn't being sarcastic or like trying to say, I'm really sorry, Tish, that you had to witness all that. And Felicia Colota, I am sorry that your mother-daughter relationship was pretty much forbidden by Jamie because he wanted to destroy every single little good thing that Britney had in her life. And the New York Times people that made this documentary, I commend you. I actually like this documentary a little more than Framing Britney Spears. I want to commend you for everything you've done and raising awareness. I'm hoping this documentary does justice and, well, a miracle will happen on the 29th. And I'm going to say this. Britney, you are a strong, strong person. You deserve a statue for what you've done. I cannot wait for you to get married to Sam Asghari, which, yes, I am on the fence about Sam Asghari, but I'm waiting until we get any confirmation that he's Team Khan, but I don't think he is. But, Britney, I hope that you have the wedding of your dreams when this is over, and I hope you get to live your life the way you want it to, and that you'll be able to settle down and have the kids you want. Now I'm going to start with everything. Robin Greenhill, you are a despicable human being. What exactly is your agenda? What exactly were you trying to accomplish or do by controlling Britney, making her work on her birthday, having her do all these, not even allowing simple things like her to buy a thing of shoes or get sushi for dinner? Jamie, why do you hate your daughter? Why do you hate... It seems like you're favoring Jamie Lynn Spears over Britney, which is weird because Jamie Lynn, and same thing with you, Lynn Spears, Britney's mother. Jamie Lynn is nothing but a bully and a failure, yet you're doing everything to make sure she has a perfect life. You're treating Britney like a slave, even though I'm not a parent, obviously. I don't have kids. And honestly, I would never play favorites. But if I were them, I would have thought they'd favor Britney because, you know, she's one of the most famous pop singers in history. One of the most famous singers of all time. And you will... I really don't really have much to say, but Robin Greenhill, I hope that you'll be charged and you spend the rest of your life in prison. I don't know what to say to you, but I honestly really wish I could hear your side of the story for this, because there's no way you can justify what you've done. So, sorry, I accidentally shook the desk. Jamie Spears, I already talked about you, and also Eden Yemeni, please forgive me if I mispronounce that. Why are you were totally on board with stalking, monitoring Britney's every little step? You didn't question a thing. You didn't care about a thing. You should be ashamed of yourself right now. How do you sleep at... All these guys, including Lou Taylor, how do you guys sleep at night knowing that you ruined someone's life for 13 years? 13 years she'll never be able to get back. All because you guys wanted money or power or control? Britney's sons. You only, in the last 13 years, you guys only gave these guys a specific amount of time with their mother because you guys wanted money. That is literally all this thing has been about. Jamie Lynn Spears, Brian Spears, Lynn Spears. Have fun in prison. How could you allow this to happen? How could you allow this? You cared more about Britney's money than Britney herself. You guys and Jamie, you guys are not Britney's family. Felicia Colota, Matthew Rosengart, Sam Asghari, Britney's sons, and the entire Free Britney fans are her real family. I believe that's all I have to say for right now. Hopefully I handle this a lot calmer than last time. And hopefully my next video will finally be the first trailer for Wild Ride. I'm actually wearing the same shirt that you saw in those, that you'll see me wear in the movie. Anyway, let's hope that next video will be a lot more lighthearted.